to say. It generally, I don't know if you can tell in the video, so the main difference between like last year, I guess like every episode since like 1990 exactly, is that they didn't actually have a maple cap. They were just a mahogany body with a maple veneer. And this has an actual maple cap. It's plain maple, but then they put the wood veneer over it. But it still looks like 1,000 times better than it ever did. Like when you looked at an Epiphone before, you would just be like, yeah, that doesn't look right. Because it was just like, kind of like and I don't know how thick, but a decently thick piece of veneer over the top of mahogany. So they could like sound good, but it's just the mahogany. And this having the makeable cap kind of focuses it a bit more, which helps a lot. Like I've never heard an Epiphone have this kind of clarity out of the neck. Like that seems absolutely crazy that that's an Epiphone sounding like that. Let's see. It feels a lot better. Like it doesn't quite have the Gibson feel. Like, you know, like you can just, when you're holding a Gibson versus when you're holding an Epiphone, you can generally tell the difference. I don't know if it's just because of the lacquer versus the gloss or what. But generally you can just kind of tell. Like even while you're playing, probably, you know, Gibson probably has a better treated fretboard, first of all. Like this seems like untreated. If I just put some lemon oil on it, though, it would probably feel more like a Gibson. Anyway, but yeah, it's generally kind of difficult to tell the difference, I think, if you were to just like blindfold it. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It's super loud. Like really loud, unplugged, which is not usual for Epiphones. Let's see. It stays in tune a lot better. I don't have like a pesky G string. Part of that probably is like the actual Graphtec nut, which is allowing things to actually slide better. So no like microscopic things are getting caught up in there. Yeah, it is a lot better than any other Epiphone I've ever played. It looks a lot nicer. It feels a lot nicer. It sounds a lot nicer. And this is before I've even changed the pickups. I'm still going to put the whole Lotas in there. But I could see where someone could have these pickups and be pretty satisfied with them. I mean, they sound pretty PAF-y, honestly. Like, if I had the gain up really high for the... this is also played on the cube, not the orange. Hi, madam. Okay, so, but if I turn it back up... yeah, it just sounds... they sound pretty PAF-y. They're really clear. Generally, they seem to resist gain, which I think is a good quality in a lower market pickup. Because I mean, if they're not resisting gain, then it's going to be really. It seems like you're going to go from 0 to 10 really quickly. And this one, they have a lot more. Just have a lot of difference between the sounds you can get. Like I can turn my gain. It's about 1 o'clock right now, and I can get a pretty smooth, overdriven sound. Like there's definite overdrive to that, but I can turn it up all the way up and get a real overdrive. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with it, considering I didn't want to, say I was going to be like a parts Paul or something like that, but I was definitely going to upgrade every single part of it. I am going to swap out the pickups. I'm going to put a amber toggle here. But other than that, I mean, I'll eventually get the locking. I'll get some locking Gotos with the like vintage green plastic on there. But oh yeah, that's the other thing. The headstock. Check it out. It's so much better than any other Epiphone headstock. It's actually not terrible looking. But yeah, I'll swap out that. But other than that, I'm like super satisfied with it. All the frets. This is the other big worry I had. All the frets look feel fine. The first thing I did when I got out of the box was check for high frets, and there were none, which is awesome. Madam, stop. Yeah, but I am really impressed, and I'm really happy I got it. So, and it arrived like 2 days early, which is cool. But the burst actually looks a lot better in person as well. I took a little bit of a chance getting the Bourbon burst because Bourbon burst Epiphone is not as good as Bourbon burst Gibson. It's just not. Looks more like a vintage Sunburst, but there's still a bit less straight black to it. Like, it's definitely brown once you see it in person, but it's an extremely dark brown. Whereas a vintage Sunburst is black here, but this is super dark brown. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. I think you'll look forward to playing it a lot. So yeah.